New at 6, the secretary for an engineering firm that survived a public corruption trial is now accused of making illegal campaign donations. Terri Ann Otani of Mitsunaga Associates was acquitted in last year's federal bribery trial, but testimony from her sister during that trial led the state to charge the 70-year-old with 4 counts of false name contributions. Some of that money allegedly went to last year's co-defendant, former city prosecutor Keith Kaneshiro. The charges are felonies, each punishable by up to 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. Otani is due in court on Monday.